Welcome to our question and answer session. What I'd like to start to do is just give you a background. I'm going to give you a little bit of a personal history about myself, and then a little bit of information about the Celebrity Edge itself, and then we'll open it up to question and answers. So I'm going to begin this picture behind me. This is the certificate that I received when I was 12 years old and I went on my very first cruise. It was on the big red boat, the Atlantic, with Premier Cruise Line. One person has heard of it right over here. Fantastic. It was the original Disney Cruise Line. So they had an affiliation with Disney Cruise Line parks, or Disney parks. So you did kind of a land and sea adventure. So we went on this 4-day holiday over Thanksgiving, my brother, my parents, and I. And when we got off the ship and we were packing the car to drive home, I said to my dad, I know what I want to be when I grow up. And he said, what's that? I said, you know the person that plans all those fun events on board the ship? Dad said, the cruise director? I said, yes, I want to be the cruise director. And my dad said to me, well, you can do anything you want in the world, including drive the thing. And that's where the seed was planted. Now, fast forward to when it was time to pick a college, and my dad reminded me of that conversation we had when I was 12 years old. And he said, if you want to go to a school where you can go to sea, I recommend California Maritime Academy. Now, the thing about California Maritime Academy, actually, I got to show you the picture of, there's my awkward 12-year-old self, and the phase I hadn't grown into yet, and my brother, he loves me showing that picture of him. But there we are packing the car to drive home. That is the exact time when that conversation went down, and if you notice those jackets, tomorrow, 49ers, yeah! There we go. So yeah, that's from the cruise, but fast forward to when it was time to go to school. And when my dad suggested California Maritime Academy, he said, you know, it's this great school where you get to go on cruise every year, and I'm thinking back to this 12-year-old cruise that I had, and what he meant is when I showed up for school, they had a stack of khaki uniforms that they pushed across the desk towards me, and they said, every morning you'll meet at 7 a.m. on the quad for inspection. Now, I'd seen movies like Animal House about college, and it did not involve khaki uniforms, so I turned around to question my parents, and they were booking it to the car. They said, we'll see you in 4 years. There I am at school, but California Maritime Academy is a very, very special university. It's actually part of the California State University system. It's California State University Vallejo, which is between San Francisco and Sacramento, California Maritime Academy. And what that means is during the 4 years of university, I got a business administration degree. My major was business administration with a minor in marine transportation. And then because every summer we went on training cruises and we took the additional courses during our school years, so whether it was celestial navigation, rules of the road, marlin spike, small craft operations, at the end of the 4 years, I also got a license to sail anything from tugboat to the world's largest supertanker, everything in between. Now, there we go, there's graduating. When I graduated school, I worked on banana boats. I took bananas between Ecuador and California. Giuseppe laughs at that, I would too. I don't know if you know anything about banana boats, but there's a couple of things that are not great. The spiders, the snakes, and I'm not a huge fan of bananas anyway. So I had always wanted to be on cruise ships. So what I did is when I graduated from school, I applied to every cruise line in the industry. And it was just in 2000 when the internet was kind of taking off with emails, so I sent all my resumes, snail mail, and email. 18 months I didn't hear anything back from any cruise line. So I changed my resume, I applied to be a bartender with Disney Cruise Line. Now Disney Cruise Line, they got my resume, they looked at it and they said, she is not qualified to be a bartender because I had never served a drink in my life. But I was qualified to drive their ships. So they sent it to the right department. I got hired as a third officer. That's the entry-level position with Disney Cruise Line. Now, at the time, Disney only had 2 ships, the Tragic and the Blunder. I'm just kidding, I love them. But because they only had the 2 ships, there wasn't a lot of room for growth or promotion. People weren't moving up very quickly. So I went looking for a company that was growing, and that was our sister brand, Royal Caribbean. At the time, they were building the Voyager class and the Radiance class of ships, so everybody was moving up pretty quickly. So I came over to our sister brand at Royal Caribbean. I came in as a second officer, then I went first officer deck, first officer safety, first officer navigation, chief officer safety, staff captain, and then in 2015 I was sailing with my husband on the Quantum of the Seas. He's the chief engineer at the time, and we were off the coast of Oman, and I got a call from Lisa Lutow-Perlo, who is our president and CEO at Celebrity Cruises, and I had met her over at Royal Caribbean, and she said, you know, I want you to come over to Celebrity Cruises, and I want you to be our first female captain. To which I said, hell yeah. So that's how I came over here. That's my parents, actually. They came to cruise. Funny thing about my parents, when they come, they're a bit of an albatross. Every time they come, something happens. Either my mom's intestines get twisted and I have to leave her in Barbados for 3 weeks. We have not one hurricane, we have 2. It just goes on and on and on. So I told my parents I love them. I love them so much. But they can't really sail with me anymore because I can't afford that as a captain. But that's them this time. They came over just when I took over on this contract. So that's Mom and Dad. The next picture is, oh, right, the captain's wife. So I get asked